All right, and we're live, everybody. Ba. Today is Monday, March 8th, 2021. Yet another Forrest Fenn panel because people couldn't get enough of the first one. And a big thank you to Copper Dan, Tim, and Melika for coming on. We may have one more. I'm not sure if she's going to make it or not. We shall find out as time goes on.
Guest.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure you thumbs up, super chat's on if you want to do that. And here we go. Take it away, K-Pro.
Okay, so I hope everybody saw the slideshow, the crazy thoughts. So what we're going to talk about tonight is, again, what we've been talking about because we have new people, kind of State of the Chase, but specifically why the treasure chest location and solve isn't being revealed. And then I don't know if you've seen Cynthia's new conversations with Cynthia. She's going to try to tackle through all of Jack's responses, solving the poem. Do we think at this point the poem can be solved? There's no treasure chest that can confirm it at the end. So we've brought different people together. We have some brand new people to YouTube, some old people like Copper Dan to YouTube. And then the beautiful Melika is here in lockdown, but she is here because the internet allows us to bring everyone together. So those of you that haven't met everybody, we have, but I'd like you to we'd like to go round robin and just give us a quick introduction. Tim is my nemesis, I will say, but we will start with you, Tim.
Hey everyone. Yes, I am the one that not just once, but twice beat K-Pro at poker during the tournament. I was the one that knocked her out. I was the one that got the t-shirt. So this is my first time on Zoom. So you guys, you'll have to put up with my Southern dialect, even though I'm currently in Wyoming. So, but yes, I am her nemesis. I'm like the Seinfeld, hello Newman to K-Pro there. So, but thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Okay. And over to Copper Dan. Who are you? No one knows you.
No one knows. I was just going to say, I was going to ask you for the big intro, but you gave it to me. Thanks, Gabriel. I am Copper Dan. I've been around in the chase for about 3 years. Even though the chase is over, it still continues. I run my own treasure hunts. Stay tuned. We'll do it later, but there's a new hunt coming out real soon.
Nice. Okay, and then Melika, who are you in this chase?
I'm Melika. I am from Canada. Well, I'm American, but I live in Canada. And I was friends with Forrest, but I'm also a searcher. A lot of people don't realize that, but I did go out boots on the ground many times, and I have been a searcher for many years.
Excellent. And I think you were pretty much always Wyoming or Wyoming and Montana?
Wyoming and Montana.
Okay. So we'll go round robin. If the chat room has any questions, please put at KPro. I will write those down when there is a pause in the action. So let's start with, what do you think the state of the chase is? Why isn't the meat and potatoes, which is the final solve, and treasure chest location, being revealed? What do you think, Tim? Start with you, my friend.
Okay, state of the chase. I think right now it's kind of a limbo phase where, do I think Jack is the finder? No. I think I'm not one of those guys that believes he is. I think he is a front man kind of thing that's kind of came into the chase for whether it was a family or the finder, whoever needed to fill that space to kind of settle down the lawsuits, whatever. I don't know, but I do think we're in a limbo period, and the only reason I think that is in the puzzle where it says the answers I already know. I think personally that the first part of the chase has been done. The armchair part of it was done. However, the person now has to take and answer the questions for maybe possibly something better. Okay.
Yeah,
and-
so
and
you think this is actually part of the chase? It's not over.
I don't think it's over. I mean, I still, am out there trying to figure out things, and every day I come across something new. I'm actually in Wyoming, so yeah, it's easy for me to hop in the truck and look at something to kind of verify things. And sometimes it's not as easy for other people to do that. They're using Google Maps and stuff like that, which is probably, since Forrest said that's what you need for it, I would rely on that. But me, I'm kind of one of those guys. It's just as easy for me to drive around there and figure out something. So, but I don't think we're over yet. I don't think we're done. I think we've, is it taking that person a lot longer? Yes, I do think than what they probably calculated it would take. But from everything I've seen so far, Forrest is probably laughing his butt off, because he's like, whoever did find it is one probably pulling their hair out trying to figure it out. And I don't know if there's a time frame to it. I don't know if there's, if this person's got, a certain amount of time, and if he doesn't do it, then it, plan B happens. I really don't know. But that's my input on it. Like I said, ever since Jack came out, I just never had an easy feeling about it. Initially, yes, when he did come out, it was kind of a kick in the stomach, but I do feel like there are, certain things that just don't line up. And you take the average person out there, they find a chest like that, and they are going to be just flipping over backwards to show it to everybody they know, as a, just from pure excitement. And, he can't wait to sell it. I mean, I don't think the person who finds it is ever going to probably sell it. They may lease it to a museum or something, but I don't know. I mean, that's a pride thing in the treasure hunting industry. I mean, look at the Etosha, when they found that treasure, they took and made a whole museum around it, so, I mean, that's where I'm kind of at with it. So
Okay.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on
Yeah,
that,
very
where I'm at.
interesting. Yeah, we'll go around on this one, but that's really interesting because I know there's a lot of people that actually think as you do. Either Jack was hired or you have to contact Jack. This is just one step. It was solving the poem. And like, I'm a believer that Jack was the finder. Jack has the chest. It's being sold. It's over. Hopefully somebody leaks some information and we actually get the solution. It ain't coming from Jack. That's what I believe. But there's a lot of people that believe either Forrest or the family, or this is a part of the steps or something, as you'd say, which I find fascinating. So we'll come back to you. One of the things that has already come up is, do you think you have to contact Jack, or do you think Jack's independent? Who hired him? Those questions are already coming up, but start thinking on that. We'll go around the room. Melika, so do you believe Jack's the finder? Do you believe we can find we're going to get any answers? Where do you think we're at right now?
I still have, from the moment that it was announced that the treasure had been found, I still to this day believe there's more to come, because you just cannot keep, if Jack has no family, no friends, should Jack be the finder, which I believe to be true, based because that's what Forrest said. And I take Forrest at his word in that. Do I feel that if Jack has no friends, has no family, does not interact, he's a hermit that lives out in the middle of nowhere, then yeah, we probably won't get answers. But Jack has friends, Jack has family, Jack lives amongst the world of social media. And I believe that people talk. People will always talk. And eventually, whether it's by Jack's choice to come out, I don't think that has to be the only way that answers can be given. As far as the chase goes, I still think we're all here for a reason. We haven't had that resolution. We haven't had the solution. And I think we will all continue to play a part in this until we do have a solution, whether it be somebody comes forward and gives it to us, or as a community, everybody comes together and gives their, I believe this, because now there is no, I don't have to keep my secrets. I don't have to keep my thoughts and opinions and ideas on what I thought of this symbol or what this line meant. We can openly share that now. And I think openly sharing that is what is going to get the answers of where that chest was located.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I remember way back, I actually talked to Forrest about this. I said, I think all of us has figured out one little clever thing. And if we all shared our one little clever thing that we found,
I
we
think
could
there's
all come together.
I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of clever things that, I mean, I know just myself, it's like some of the, that's interesting moments that I've come across. And when you go in, like, not even just searchers who've been at this for years and years, you get fresh faces coming in with fresh ideas, and then you combine all of that. And that's where I think it can be solved. Now there's no chest there to confirm it, but according to Jack, there's enough evidence still there that will tell you if you're in the right location.
Okay. Copper Dan, over to you. Where are we at
Over
with
to
the
me.
chase?
Yep.
Why are we getting, are we gonna get the treasure chest location, the solve? Can we solve this poem? Where do you think we're at this point? Do you believe that Jack's the finder?
I believe, so I believe Jack's the finder, until I have reason to think otherwise. I will say this chase could have not ended in a more strange and sucky way, except for Jack. And I wonder if anyone has asked Jack what he thinks of the ending. And that's a big secret to keep to yourself the rest of Jack's life. And if Jack's the only one to truly know the location. But I do agree, if more than two people know, I think
I
over
feel
time.
like Forrest had a reason to keep it a secret. Because that
Do you think it's up to Forrest, or do you think it's up to Forrest or Jack?
Pardon me?
Do you think it's up to Forrest? You said Forrest to keep a secret.
No,
Forrest
I
said it was up to the
Forrest can
finder.
keep a secret. I'll answer that. But what I was saying is Forrest can keep a secret because he had an ultimate reason why to keep that secret. Now, for Jack to keep it a secret, what's his why? You know, he obviously has a why that he wants to keep it secret, but they're different reasons. And yes, I do believe what you were saying last night. I do believe that things can change when it comes to Forrest wanting to change his mind, even though he said all these years that it's up to the finder. I think late in age had a possibility of reasoning. Something that I think a lot of people seem to forget or not have clued into or notice is when Forrest wrote the poem, he wrote it with the intention of his bones being there when that person, the finder, found the chest. And yes, he got healthy and had to change that plan. But that doesn't change that that wasn't his favorite spot and that wasn't going to be his final resting place. That didn't have to change just because he got better. So ultimately, he could still have wanted that to be his final resting place. And at that time, when the finder comes out, it could have been a conversation that was had.
Interesting.
So why would Jack keep Forrest's secret?
Money.
He barely knew Forrest. He didn't
I
know
would-
Forrest.
Okay,
Apparently, like we did.
okay, but if you have this conversation, just say, just for conversation, that you found the treasure, you went to see Forrest, you had a conversation. Forrest is at that, Forrest in the last couple of years of his life talked as if tomorrow was his last day, repeatedly. It was like he would say, you know, I'm only 18 months away from 90. And I'm like, well, Forrest, first let's get you to 88 before we start getting you to 90. And then, you know, let's not jump ahead the birthdays. But Forrest knew his days were limited, because at that age, when you get to that age in life, you just know you don't have 40 years left in you. And so your days are, you know, every day is a gift. And so I think he just got to that. I feel like there could have been a conversation that, great, you found it. What did you know, Jack, why was that place special to you? Forrest elaborates, that's where I want to rest. That's where I want to be when I pass away.
Yeah, but if Jack backdoored the poem, if he, you know, figured out the shortcut or got information and took and just went and got the chest, okay, and then, you know, as he says, he called Forrest and got permission to get it, but, you know, he wouldn't know the reason for the poem. He wouldn't know why Forrest, you know, kept that secret. He, you know, he can't answer that question because he doesn't know. And
I thought he sat down and he answered all those questions with Forrest.
yeah, you know, I didn't hear that part, so I don't know. But I mean, there's some things even I've seen in there that I wouldn't want to take in, you know, release, that are things that, you know, I can't be sure that I would be correct in saying, and they're not Forrest secrets, they're secrets that people told Forrest. So, you know, maybe that's why Forrest, you know, did this, is because, and I've wondered about this several times, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Please do not put me in another, you know, channel's profile, but, and I'm not bashing them, but, you know, if you've got something that's so bad that, you know, people are going to take in, you know, if you release it or if you report it on it and somebody's going to hunt you down, and, you know, I'm not saying that Hillary's name's in there. I'm not saying it's not in there, but I will say that, you know, if you had something like that so bad, wouldn't you want to hide it in something so when it did finally come out, so many people would be knowledgeable about it at once that, you know, even if they took you out, it would continue on after they took you out and come out, you know, later on at time. I mean, I'm not saying that's what it is. I just say that's how I feel about it.
You're not a conspiracy theorist, but there's so much more, and Jack's not the finder. I just put that right on your head. Conspiracy theorist. It's okay. Wear it with honor. It's all right.
Let me ask a question. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
I was just wondering, so Tim and Melika and Copper Dan, a little bit, I think they said there's more to come. There's something else coming, right? Do any of you think that could be in design by Forrest outside of Jack? Do you think Forrest had something in mind that something would happen after Forrest was gone? Or do you think it's all based on Jack now, whether Jack slips up or Jack tells friends or whatever it is? Do you guys think Forrest had something else designed to happen at some point in the future? Tim, what do you think?
I think everything's by design. I think he thought of everything. You know, the only thing he probably didn't think of was whoever did find it probably wasn't the sharpest tack or where he wanted them to be or at the level he wanted them to be. And it's taken him a little longer to probably figure things out. But see, even the dog agrees with me. So, but I mean, that's where I'm at. I think everything's happening for a reason. It's by design. It's, you know, it's going to draw out certain, you know, bits of information eventually. And I can't say that it's not going to trigger something else. I mean, nobody's ever seen a puzzle like this that goes that deep. I mean, this is like, I mean, nobody would ever dreamed about this. You know, nobody can sit there and write this up. Maybe K-Pro could, you know, she's kind of evil, but, but, you you know, I mean, to sit there and put this together, it's not going to be something any one of us could do overnight to put like a puzzle like this together. And he said it took him many years, but you know, I don't think this is over by any means. I think this is going to be way bigger than what any of us are realizing.
And I've met several
Already
people.
bigger than anything that even Forrest imagined, because he didn't anticipate it growing to the extent that it did. I mean, in as much as his mind was amazing without question, but at the same time there was a simpleton to him where it was, I you know, yeah, maybe some people would have interest, but not this many. Not, and you know, to mention what I said about the emails yesterday, is the conversation I had with Forrest afterwards was right after he announced he was stepping away from emails, because he kind of gave me shit because I hadn't emailed him when I arrived there for one of my visits with him. And I said, well, Forrest, you said, like, you announced you wanted to step away from emails. He's like, you're excluded from that, and I expect to have emails from you. And I said, well, I need to understand then why, like, why you felt the need to step away from the emails. Like, I know you enjoy interaction with mini searchers. And we had got up and went into visit with Peggy for a little bit, and then came back, and he's like, look at this. He's like, look how many emails I've gotten just since we left the room. And he was like, they expect something from me. He's like, I never said I would give them something by putting my email in the book. He's like, but they expect. It's like, and it was, and I understood because he was hurt by it. He was saddened by it. But it was like there was an entitlement that people had that you need to answer me. You need to tell me where the, I mean, I've answered, I know Mike said he's answered the phone when he was there. I've answered the phone. I had a searcher sit there and say, he needs to answer this email. He needs to answer my phone calls. He needs to tell me if I'm right. And it's like, sorry, no, he doesn't. He doesn't owe anybody anything. And I feel that way in regards to Jack. I would love the solution. I would love the answer. I would love to know. I would prefer to have been in Colorado, because I wasn't looking in Colorado, and it's just great for me to be that far off. I'd rather be that far off than to be that close. But at the same time, I would love to know, like, understand the clues, understand what they meant. And that is why we're all still here, because we don't have that understanding. But
Melika, why do you think Jack went from shy to, he was outed without wanting to be, but then now he's corresponding with so many, very responsive. I've received a response every single time. I know so many have, and they've sent me emails where they're going back and forth. I mean, he has answered thousands of emails. Why do you think he's doing that?
I think, like, I don't really think he's like playing the game or toying with us with giving us tidbits of information. But at the same time, okay, imagine this case scenario. Any one of these searchers found that treasure. Forrest is being sued by people who are demanding answers. And any one of us could have been that searcher that found that chest and possibly get sued. Now, how many? Yes, Forrest had been sued before. Forrest has gone to court before. Forrest has no problem hiring a lawyer. Forrest has a bankroll that can handle that. Does everybody else have that bankroll that can handle going to court and spending like months and months defending yourself? And yeah, you might have a treasure, but until that treasure is liquidated, you don't have money to afford a lawyer if you're just, say you're just surviving month to month. You know, we don't know all that kind of information.
Well, I can see why he wasn't talking at all, but now that he's been outed, he's talking to
That doesn't
everyone
stop
about
somebody from
everything.
suing you.
Right. No, that's what I mean is basically why isn't he was silent for all those months, but now he's talking to everybody or doing the emails. Like he's gone from one extreme to the other, I feel. So I would think if he's in active lawsuits, which he has been, he would just be silent. He hasn't, he's gone the other way. He's given hints, he's given, do you have any guesses why?
And he might becoming more comfortable, a little bit more lax about the what ifs. Like, okay, time's passed, nobody's suing me, so maybe I should start talking a little bit more.
I think we're being too nice.
It's in
to him.
human nature, we want to, but I don't think he owes us.
I just think we're being too nice to him. If you piss him off, he's going to come on and start, making us, maybe I'll call him out.
Oh, and he could shut down and never say another thing.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's more likely.
Yeah.
And I asked my daughter, my youngest daughter is 20. So I do this frequently. I go to my kids. They're from 20 to 30 years old. And I ask their thoughts. And sometimes they're very enlightening to me because I didn't see it from that perspective. And when Jack said that he left that treasure, wherever that location was, I was like, I called bullshit on that at first. And then I went to my kids and said, this is what this guy is saying. And my daughter's like, yeah, I probably would have left it. And I'm like, not if you were with me, you wouldn't have. not a chance.
It's like around you, you're sitting with, you're showering with it, you're going to dinner with it.
I had no intentions. Trust me, I played it out in my head. No intentions was that leaving my sight. It was like, nope.
Yeah, I think that's the
I even
hardest
figured out how
part
to
of
get
all this is
home.
understanding Jack, because he's obviously the way he is very, very different than how any of us would have, I think, and unless there's something that we don't know. And
We have a couple questions from the room. The first is, can we trust what Jack's saying? He's giving us all these hints and clues and breadcrumbs and thoughts about WWWH's water and its form, and since he can't reveal, is he revealing it? Can we trust what he is saying? I think yes, for the most part, except where he can't legally like the solve. But yeah, I think WWWH's water. I don't think he would be mischievous about that. So that's just my thoughts. But what are your guys' thoughts? Can we trust Jack? We already know Tim. Tim doesn't even believe he's the finder. So I'm gonna assume Tim's gonna say no. But what do we think, Dan and Melika?
I believe that Jack is probably being forthcoming in a truthful way, but it's all an interpretation too. Mm-hmm. I mean, look how many things that Forrest says that I never thought of Forrest as a deceitful person, but there were times that Forrest said some things that made you go, and I think the same can apply to Jack.
What do you think, Copper Dan?
It's like, I've asked myself this, if I'm going to believe Jack is the finder and then he solved the clues and did all this, but I'm not going to believe his reasoning for not giving out. So it's a kind of a slippery slope. And I've like, you know what? I mean, if we're going to believe him as an honest person, it's kind of, we have to go, although there may be reasons that we don't know, or maybe we'll never know.
Yeah, because I feel like he's saying he will not answer things. He could lie and just come up with something different. But I think he doesn't answer when he doesn't want to, and he is truthful. There's no reason to just toy with people. So he doesn't seem that, I don't know him at all, but he just doesn't seem that way. But that's just
I will say this, Shy Guy from the East, Shy Guy is not a good representation. The guy was on like I don't know, it wasn't CNN, but it was, he did like a 5-minute live interview back and forth. I'm like, he's not,
Yeah.
he's very camera friendly.
Okay,
But-
this is a question from the room. I have a couple more. And I'm going to include myself in this one. Do you believe you received any personal hints? I'm going to start by saying the dip your toe in it. I never knew if it was a hint. I will tell you, Forrest asked me, why do you only search up in Wyoming and Montana? Have you ever considered New Mexico? You should come visit me. Why don't you explore New Mexico? Because he knew that I was done with my last solve. I was looking for a new solve. Was that a hint? I always thought it was. I was like, oh, it's in New Mexico then. And no, it wasn't. I don't think there was any way to confirm if there were hints. So even the dip your toe in it, I think he put enough out there, exactly what Melika is saying, interpretation wise. Not all of us thought we had hints. None of us had anything that absolutely confirmed it in my experience. So I would say no, even though it seemed like it now, but we didn't know, we couldn't confirm it. So what do you think, Tim? Tim, did you get any super secret hints from Forrest?
Oh my God, he told me where the home of Brown was. He told me, no, literally, I was one of those guys that would email him every once in a while when I came across something, and I'd never heard back from Forrest until after. In fact, the day that, or actually the next day after the chest was announced, it had been found. Only because I was leaving for a boots on the ground, and I took in, was like, man, please tell me this is a joke, and he sent back, the thing and said, no, it's already done, so, I guess he was trying to save me from driving 10 hours to a search spot in Colorado. But, the thing about it is I never personally received any hints from him. However, I do think that he was giving the entire community as much as he possibly could through those scrapbooks. And I think when we got what you guys call the dump is because he got, a certain amount of information that based on what he was seeing from the real finder, not Jack, I think Jack's playing the part, that he was part to pay. Answer a couple emails when they send them to you, do whatever. But, basically, he owes somebody some serious money or something to take and have to do this favor, but I think
You think Jack's the front man?
I've felt like that. And it's like, wait a minute now, if you go to his Onion articles, it's like, whoa, this is not a shy guy to sit there and talk about his sperm donation. Okay, this is.
But don't you think that's why he didn't want to come out? I always felt that Jack's the finder.
Well,
if he does come out, everybody is going to look at some of the stuff he's done in his very younger life, and they are going. I mean, the first thing all over the forums was some of the stuff he said about certain people's kids and all of that.
So when you were in school and you had somebody who was loud and obnoxious in middle school, when they got in high school, they were still loud and obnoxious. So
I think he's loud and obnoxious, and I think there was a little irony there. I think it was a play on. I don't think he was shy.
He doesn't fit the shy description that comes with that.
Oh, I think that was irony on Forrest's part.
If you ever did find it, and I'm not even saying, I don't know that it's not the family that pulled a favor or, whatever. And some people say, oh, well, Shiloh may know him, they're personal friends, whatever. I don't know. That's not for me to figure out. All I know is that, I could come up with the same answers he's given everybody just by Googling what the average, response is to, is warm waters wet? Well, yeah, okay, that sounds like a good idea. We'll put wet down, but I mean, when I sit there and look at it, I'm like, okay, this guy, anybody could give him the same answers for him to answer for everybody. But I'm not saying that maybe the finder is like, look, man, I've got more money than I've ever had in my life. We don't know what this person's income was. And I mean, they may have been working at Taco Bell and said, holy crap, man, I've hit the lottery here. And that's the most money they've ever had. And they're like, scared to death to answer people or get any attention. Or, I mean, you can't tell me if Forrest Fenn told you to move to Santa Fe, you wouldn't be packing your bags and just abandoning half your stuff just to get down there, Or,
wait, so you believe that the real finder, the person that found the treasure chest, hired Jack as like PR front. Is that what you're saying?
That's the thing, front man. I mean, who
Maybe.
wouldn't you? Maybe they hired him, maybe the family did. I don't know. I just don't
Okay.
feel, it doesn't feel right to me. I mean, there's certain things like when you see Forrest telling a story, it feels like a natural conversation. And, when you read stuff from Jack, it's almost canned or it's not emotional. I mean, you go through all this stuff. I mean, I could tell you, you spend 25 days in the woods looking for a chest, you're going to have some emotion when you find it. If you ain't excited to get out of the woods after 25 days, you got something wrong with you. I know what he slept in because you ain't sleeping in the woods that good anyway. So, but that's the thing is I just don't believe it's over, and maybe it's I don't want it to be.
Tim is right. That is something that always bothered me is his lack of emotion on finding that.
Well,
But
he
that's
said he
just-
was emotional. We haven't heard his story. Dan Barbarisi's book is going to be huge.
That'd be
I know
interesting.
they have spent a ton of time together, and he explains, from what I'm understanding, a lot of that detail. And I won't say mic drop, but it'll be details that will make it more clear. But Copper Dan, let's go to the personal, private, super secret hints that you got. Do you believe searchers got them? What do you think?
And that are in your copper pieces that you made as well.
Yeah, not the hidden. I'll tell you that story in a minute. The only thing I've ever noticed is the very first when I met him in Santa Fe with you guys at the Jamie Jordan drawing raffle, is he signed my book. He didn't sign it. It doesn't say Copper Dan. It says the R is a D, and we prayed for D's. He always prayed for D's. And I didn't know if he just heard me wrong, like he didn't, I mean, or what, I don't know. And maybe his he's signing a million things. His R didn't come out correctly. Because it does not look, it's not even remotely an R, it is a D.
So it's a hint.
It looks
You
just
think-
like the D in Dan. It's a hint. I don't know what, no, I don't. So to get him back, when I made everybody's, the pieces, I could grind a hidden F in the sky. And if anyone has any of my Warm Waters Halt, Canyon Down, or Too Far to Walk pieces, if you look at your piece and look in the sky, you can see a hidden F that's ground in there. So when I made Forrest's piece, and I sent it to him, and I was talking to Cynthia, I'm like, show him the F in it, and he couldn't find it. And I kind of under my breath and went, how's it feel?
You should have put a D on his.
I should have put a D.
Well, so in general, do you think searchers got hints? Be a little serious for a second.
Oh, absolutely. I think I didn't think until recently when you guys have come forward and said you flat out, if you were female, you got hints. Sorry, Melika. Sorry, K-Pro. But you did.
Okay, you do know the recording was with another male searcher there, and okay.
Hey, I tried to send naked pictures. I didn't get no secret hints.
Well, and I heard Mike did the same thing, and
How do you think I got the coin? Come on, you got to do what you got to do.
okay, it's a fair enough answer. I don't necessarily agree
It
with
just seemed a little bit more that Forrest warmed up to. I ain't blaming Forrest because I like girls too, I like women too. But it seemed like if you were female, you got a little bit more.
All right, let me ask you.
Wait. Last one, Melika. Let's finish this round, Robin. You get the next one, Mike.
Yeah, I say no. I don't think Forrest gave any hints. Yes, Forrest said things to me that I was like, as a searcher, like, have you been to Cameron? Why not? You should go there.
So
Why
no,
the hell do I want to go to Cameron? What's in Cameron? Nothing.
wink.
There's like, it's a tiny little spot that you're going to miss on your way to Yellowstone when you're coming from north.
So Melika,
And
would you say that Forrest gave information to certain people? If they took it as a hint or not, that's on the individual
No,
searcher.
no,
You don't think he gave more info to some than
No.
others?
no. It's Forrest and I discussed a lot of things. Like you get to figure, I would go and visit him like on a Thursday morning at like 10 in the morning, and I would be there until 5, 6 at night. And we would do this for 3 or 4 days every visit that I went down. So I spent a lot of hours with Forrest, and we talked about things which I would sit there and go, I even asked him one time, why me? Why are you sharing this with me? And it just didn't seem like it just seemed like this is not something you should be telling, not treasure related, just about his life in general. And it shocked me many times that we were having conversations that we were having, and yet there were still moments that I, Melika, as Forrest's friend, but there was also Melika as a searcher. And so when I would ask specific things, we were going through Eric Sloane's, his collection of books from Eric Sloane, and some of them had his scrapbook when he was doing the $17 a square inch. Forrest has a scrapbook that is related to that. And I went through it page by page with Forrest, and I asked like about the Omega sign. Like, why? Like, why is this here? Because it was in $17 a square inch. And that was before the treasure was. But I found it interesting as a searcher. I found it interesting that here he is writing a poem about a treasure he's intending to hide, and then puts out a book about his friend Eric Sloane. It's like, in the midst of writing this poem and planning to hide this treasure and writing his memoir, and then he puts out a book, and it's about Eric Sloane. Now, Forrest also put out books when he had his gallery to promote the painter, the artist. And he even talks about it with even Eric Sloane, how Eric's books under the desk, and he'd just grab one and pass them out to a collector coming in to buy paintings. And that was just the thing that they did to, here, let me give you a gift. Let's engage in conversation. And it was a sales tactic. But to me, I was like, that as a searcher, I was like, that's kind of an interesting tidbit of information. So when I asked him about it, and that's the only question Forrest has never answered. And he just said, I'm sorry, Melika, I can't answer that. And I was like, okay. And I left it at that.
He wouldn't
Did he
answer.
say-
He wouldn't talk about it.
Did he say anything about Hillary?
No,
Okay, I'm just verifying that.
not to me.
So can we go down a rabbit hole? You guys want to do a conspiracy theory for a minute?
Oh, Tim's in.
Yeah.
Does.
Well, let's go back to the beginning of last year. It might even been in December the year before, when Forrest said there'll be big surprises either in this upcoming year, this year, next year, however he worded it. I thought he told that to Cynthia. There'll be a big surprise or big surprises. So what if we go back last year to, January, February, March, what if Forrest was just like, he was going to end it? Forrest was actually going to pull the chest and end it. He just had enough lawsuits, people showing up at his property, people messing with his family. And maybe he did know his days were numbered and he didn't want his family to deal with it. So what if Forrest had made plans to end the chase in some way, shape, or form, but then this guy comes along and actually finds it? That Jack actually found the chest, while at the same time, Forrest was planning on ending the chase. Do you think maybe that's possible, that both things occurred kind of at the same time? And then Forrest was kind of caught off guard, was like, okay, well, you actually found it. And it just happens to be the guy that says Forrest slipped up in an interview and I knew the area. I searched all over for 25 days and then I found it. Probably not the ending that Forrest wanted, but do you think it's possible that Forrest was going to end it at some point last year, but then Jack found it.
No. Why? No, and I'll give you a reason why. I think if Forrest was going to end this, he would have probably ended it when somebody tried to kidnap his daughter or break into his house or umpteen other things that happened. When 5 people, here's a big one, when 5 people over the period of, I don't know, 5 or 6 years lost their lives, those would be reasons to end the chase a long time ago. I don't think Forrest was going to end the chase.
Forrest and I had a conversation in regards to that. Him ever stopping it. And he had told me that he would have stopped it if someone was murdered over it.
Yeah, he told me that too.
And I was like, but Forrest, that's out of your hands. I said, just like all these people who have, you know, and I don't want to sound insensitive, but, you know, it is sad that for whatever lives were lost, because searchers going out searching for the treasure, but that was not Forrest's, that was out of his control. That was choices that we're all adults making choices as to whether or not we want to go search, whether, you know, I went and searched alone. I was hiking up in the mountains all by myself, and I'm from Canada and we're not allowed to have guns here. So I wasn't even packing when I'm up in the mountains all by myself. So that was a risk. I mean, I joked about it a lot, that if I told my family goodbye and if I get eaten by a bear, just know you have a great story to tell, you know, about my life. But that was a risk that I took. And that was like my choice. And I was comfortable with it and I was okay with it. Nobody was going to tell me to do any different. And I'm sure that all those other searchers, you know, that go out boots on the ground, you know, they made that choice. And I told Forrest, I said, you have to stay genuine to the reason that you created this, the reason behind why you put that chest out there, and the reason you wrote that poem, and your thought process was to get people out there and experience the beauty of the world. And I said, so you can't let what others do taint your reasoning.
Well, but going back to last year or the year before he died, kind of like what Melika was saying, he would say like his days were numbered, but I really do think he knew his days were numbered. And I think the big surprises for me were a number of things that I think he got a fire under him because he felt like he was towards the end. He put out the Artie book. I think that was one. There was a biography that was in works that got stopped, but it was very close. I think he thought that was going to come out, and talk about a big surprise. There was a big biography out with a lot of details, not just scrapbooks, like tons of details, including experiences in the chase. I think that would have been big. And I do think he considered it. I think Melika and I've had some similar conversations. I didn't spend as much time. Some people have asked, like, who is Melika? Melika was, did you know him beforehand? She was a personal friend, but you met him in the chase. You didn't know him before the chase.
No.
Yeah.
We did not have a friendship. And that was one of those, you know, that's why I always say that was my treasure. That's what I took away from it, because I did develop a friendship with Forrest that, and for whatever reason, I don't know, old people like to listen to me talk, I guess. I don't know. We just connected, and, you know, it was, you know, going back to what we were talking about, Jack coming forward is, and Christy, you know this, it's happened, you've experienced it, but Dan, I know you've experienced it, I've experienced it, but the attack that comes on people for whatever reason, you know, there was times there's no reason. I rested my hand on Forrest's knee, and next thing I know is people are saying that I'm what was it that it was said?
Inappropriate.
I wasn't pawing at him, but I was fondling Forrest. And this is something that, trust me, if I'm going to fondle you, you're going to know it. And I'm going to be the first one to let you know, like, right, especially when I'm being filmed while I'm doing it. I'm going to be like, check it out. You guys see what I'm doing? Like,
Well,
I'm forward. I'm out like that. I don't have a problem saying that. But I think it's rude that people would, twist things. Like, it was like my friendship with Forrest, there was nothing tainted about it by any means whatsoever. And if I was manhandling, yeah, that was the other thing.
Manhandling.
If I was manhandling Forrest, I doubt he would have been asking me to come back every day and all the visits that I came back to visit. I doubt Peggy would have wanted me in the house, or the daughters. I mean, it was nonsense. but that's the crazy that comes with it, and I think that having Jack come forward, he's going to be screwed. I mean, right now, it's like we're analyzing every detail about what he says, what he does, how he does it. And then now do that live. It kind of makes you sit back and go, should I?
Right. Well, and I believe Forrest got some time with Jack. I think he wanted more, but got some, and he absolutely had to go over the crazies are coming and here's what's going to happen. And those of you that don't know,
there were times that he would do something like, I had no intentions of being on Pam's video that day. Forrest had I came over like we had planned, and he's like, by the way, this is what we're doing today. We're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, and we're doing it in that order. And I want you on this interview as well. And I'm like, oh, okay. Didn't see that coming, wasn't planning that. And then when I left that day, he chuckled. I won't name names, but he was like, they're going to come for you. I'm just saying, they're going to come for you. And I was like, thanks, Forrest. I appreciate that. Like,
more importantly, Forrest knew who was going to come for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he already knew the deal. Forrest knew exactly what was going on.
And I was just like, gee, thanks, Forrest. Like, I really don't want to get involved in this drama. I don't want it to be a target of anything, but I know my truth, so I don't have to, like, and for some people, it's just not that easy. Some people, it weighs heavier. To me, I laugh it off because it's like, I know who I am and I know my relationship and what it was like with Forrest, but it's still something that I think Jack possibly takes into consideration is, there's one thing to answer some emails, and sometimes people can do that because I know many people who are out there in the world, public figures, and it's very uncomfortable for them. But put them in this kind of situation where they can sit and type away and have conversations, they're just talking to a screen. They're not talking to a group of people, even though they're reaching, tens of thousands of people. And I think there's a comfortability in that for some people that, that might be a possibility.
Well, and I do think it's hard.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have been a little surprised. I thought, especially from his previous world in politics, I don't get into all of that, but I know you have to have pretty thick skin to be in the world that he was before. I know some of the conspiracy theories and the negative talk or even the questioning has gotten to him. I found that very surprising. I just thought, well, I think a lot of you, when I smile and go, yeah, everything's good, and then turn the camera off sometimes it really does bother me. I think it's getting to him more than I realized. But having this level of scrutiny is a whole different ball game just by the 7%. I think people in general just talking has to be hard, but to know that, I could be walking into something in any given day. Like if I go outside to go down the street and get a sandwich, I could be confronted. He doesn't know. And that has to be tough. It's almost like he's in, a war of sorts, because you don't know if you're going to get, he just doesn't know. And I haven't seen any of that. Like, I don't know what he's going through, but I can only imagine because of what Forrest went through. And then the YouTube stuff, those of you that didn't know, Melika, and Ramblin' Pam, if you remember her, they did some videos. And I remember right after the video came out, I'm like, I know who, I mean, it was obvious. And it was so.
Oh, it did take long. It did not take long. That video was up and I was like, boom, boom. And it's like, oh, hello.
Yes. And it's sad. And there's some of the same characters, but some not. There's always that one in any society of sorts, there's going to be those couple of just trolling, mean, nasty, constant, take it to a different level. There's going to be a couple of wonderful, bring everyone together. Everybody plays their role and they seem to really want to, but
and everybody handles it differently too. I mean,
right.
It's like, I don't consider myself thick-skinned, but I mean, it's at the same time, I know me and I know who I am and I'm secure with who I am, so that it's like, if you feel that's what you need to do, I'm not going to engage with you, but that's your business.
I thought you handled it very well, but it's sad that there's that. And that's the one thing that I think Forrest was so surprised about. And he said, like, the level, that 7%, but like he said to me once, like, if someone doesn't like me and someone hates this hunt, why aren't they just going away? I don't get that this is their now life's mission. Like, he never thought that person's life mission would be to dig up everything about him, to come after him, to post 100 times a day about him, to like, he's like, I just thought they would move on to something else they would enjoy, but that's what they enjoy. The negative, the nasty,
I never felt like, I mean, I do, like I said, I considered Forrest my friends. I feel Forrest considered me his friend. But I never felt that I was more special than anybody else. Forrest had many friends. Like, I wasn't the only one. And I never felt that made me any better than anybody else either. And yet people would kind of take on that, like, it just didn't need to be that way. But you can't control what other people say or do. And as far as like Jack goes, I don't know Jack. I don't, it would be great to meet Jack and have a conversation. I don't know. I said the same thing about Eric Sloan. It would be great to meet Eric Sloan. I don't think Eric Sloan would have liked me because I didn't know what the hell creme brulee was. And so, and that was something that he divorced a wife over shit like that. So, it's maybe we would have got along. Who knows?
Mike, did you have something? Oh, go ahead, Tim.
I was just going to say, like, she doesn't, Melika, you don't have that, personality that, everybody's going to hate. I mean, if you have somebody that did hate that type of personality, is because they're so miserable in their own life. They hate their job. They hate their wife or husband. They hate the soundboard, whatever it is, they're going to direct it. Yeah. they direct it on the person who's happy out there. And, if you got somebody who's happy and they have fun in the chase, this is a passion for them. I mean, I've went to, pure hell the last year, actually the last couple of years, but I went to a divorce. I've sold my lifelong ranch, all these things. And I don't know what I'd have done had I not had the poem and the puzzle and the search to kind of lean on. I mean, it's like that there's people out there that this is a savior for them. And there's people out there that just hate that because it is something good about the world, that somebody's actually has enough forethought to do something nice for other people. And they hate it because of that.
I had somebody do an article here in Canada. They had contacted me to do an article about the treasure. And they had asked me, would I ever search for another treasure? And I said, you know, I would never say never, just because I'm open for, you know, whatever adventure comes my way. I don't know what tomorrow brings. And if there's an adventure out there that is as exciting as I thought this one was, sure, I'm on it.
You're waiting for Copper Dan to come up with his big one.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
She doesn't want
All
to
right,
know about
you
your
don't
big one.
No, because I can't go search for it. If you
I'm
want to
gonna
hide
put
in
it-
Canada,
Sharpie,
by all
put a big
means,
X
let
over
me
here.
know. But no, it's like
Inappropriate.
it would take a lot. I mean, for me, the reason Forrest Treasure was so wow to me, it wasn't, and I know people, you can say what you want. To me, it wasn't about the value of the chest. Did it motivate me? Sure. It's like, I could go geocache all day long if I just wanted to search for something, but I loved the story. I loved the concept. I love the wilderness. I love being in the mountains and the trees, near the water. It's like, I love it. And I'm sorry, Tim, but I could spend 25 days in the middle of nowhere and be just content to spend one more day out there. No problem.
And you know what, Melika, if you guys haven't met Melika, petite kind of, and she looks so classy, nice. Does she even get out in the wilderness? No, she's got a big old truck. She's got a big old camper. She is a wilderness woman.
These nails can get dirty. I do not care. They're tools. It's like, I actually took, and it's unrelated. It's just a funny story, but I took my son to the gun range. I wanted all my kids to learn about guns. I am American. I know how to shoot guns. I've had guns, but here in Canada, there's a lot of restrictions for it. So it's not everybody walking around with a gun. You have to take a very intense course, do a lot of paperwork. Even just transporting your gun to the gun range is very complex. But I wanted to do this for my son. So it was a Christmas present to go spend the weekend taking this gun course. And the instructor came over and handed me a pistol and was wanting to, this is how you hold it. This is how you do. And it's like, okay. And he seen my nails and he just, oh, you're never going to be able to shoot this because of those things. I was like, are you kidding me? Seriously? You think my nails get in the way of shooting a gun? Well, I passed my course, no problem.
Yeah, and if you ever have anyone come at you inappropriately, physically, whatever, in a bar in the middle of the night, don't try to get the big, huge men and bouncers. You just get Melika and she whoops some butt.
I'm so mad I went to bed early that night.
I know, I'm so sorry, but that was some fun in Santa Fe that you guys all missed. See, you and a couple of you were there, and the one guy, he's never resurfaced after that butt whooping of Melika.
From again.
Anyway, yeah, so we've had
don't be rude.
Times.
That's all. Just don't be rude. I don't like
Okay.
rude people.
And
Let's
then there's
go back
me
for
over
a
here
second.
saying that women get super secret hints. Now I'm just like,
Hashtag the bad guy.
Okay, so do you think we can solve the poem at this point? I mean, Jack has said, what, does everybody want to hand it to him? Just go out and solve it. There's no treasure chest out there. He left no trace. He put the stuff back in the nook. Or do we think we can actually solve the poem? And he said, I stayed in the same spot because I knew it for sure. I've heard a lot of searchers do that for years and years
100%
and years.
yes.
Okay.
100% yes. Absolutely. If Jack, now is this true? Jack did it in 3 weeks to the initial area?
That is what he has said. From when he bought TTOTC, he uncovered the poem or found the poem somewhere, got TTOTC, and in 3 weeks had the general area.
I think we are in general then reading TTOTC wrong and putting too much into it. Like when I spent days and weeks and months analyzing every little like, oh, that guy didn't say that. Forrest was wrong. It's actually this guy. That's a super secret hint. No, just
That got
go
you
with the basic. What was Forrest trying to tell us? And if it's just because it's not perfectly correct, he uses story as a tool.
Well, did you see Cynthia's video today? It was interesting because she
Yes.
said, if you look at the big picture, the only time Wyoming was discussed in TTOTC is inside the park.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun.
But I mean, yes, let's say Jack got the thrill of the chase, and in 3 weeks he knew the area, but he didn't get the area from the poem. I mean, didn't he say, I listened to the interviews and Forrest slipped up and that's how I figured it out? Or is that not what he actually said? I thought it was without the
No.
slip ups that Jack would not.
I think the slip-ups probably aided maybe as confirmers, but I don't think the slip-ups are what did it.
I don't
But
know which way it was.
I-
I don't know.
We need
I
to get
think he
Jack
said
on the show.
Oh,
April,
yeah.
why have you not got Jack on the show? Really? And Jack, come on, this is the #1 Forrest Fenn YouTube channel out there right now.
Hashtag Jack.
Hashtag.
I think you're the finder. I'm not Tim.
It's one of the only ones left.
Yeah,
And then
sorry,
I
Tim,
hear-
but you're not going to be allowed on when Tim comes.
Yeah,
Or when
I'll be banned that show. You know, they won't even let me watch it or be in the comments because they'll know I'll call him out. But
That's
I-
okay
you
to
know,
be like you are, because maybe we're all wrong. Who knows?
you know what? I don't know. I mean, that's the thing is if think of any one of you what you would do because of your personality or whatever it is. But if you found the treasure and you've been in this community and you're passionate about treasure hunting, you're passionate about other people and helping them with clues, and you want to kind of have that bragging rights or whatever it is, at least if you don't tell them, hey, this is all the answers to it, I get it. And Jack, I'll send you this message. If you don't want to tell them, where you found the answers or how you found those answers, that's fine, but at least give them something, that can point them in the right direction, whether it's
He
saying,
did.
yes, it was the park or yes, it was outside of the park. Yeah, but everything
But
he
he
said,
did.
typically Google.
He gave you Wyoming.
Well, but not only that, there's as many that
I mean, it
think-
doesn't narrow it down, but
Yeah.
it did. It narrowed it
Yeah,
from Forrest to
And I'm
to
telling you, I
one.
don't think that was him. I think that was probably the original person. If Jack's the real dude, then, cough it up and at least, tell us, okay, I'm not going to tell you where the answers to it are, but, here's how I did it,
Okay, but with your scenario, so if Jack isn't if he's just the front man and the person behind the scenes is the finder, then still they gave you Wyoming. I mean,
they
we
totally
will
did.
never, I think we could have 9 answers laid before us. Warm Waters Halt is
People still aren't going to
blank.
believe you.
Exactly. And I think there's going to still be people who question every detail, every
Yeah, but I'm not worried about them people. I'm worried about me. And if you tell me, I'll believe you.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing is if you laid it out to somebody, look, this is how I did it, and then they go apply that principle or,
Okay, well,
hey,
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If let's use Yellowstone.
Okay.
If you were the finder, you were in Yellowstone, what would you have done? Would you have turned it in, or would you hightailed it out of Yellowstone?
Well, I mean, I would have probably just hired you to tell everybody what the answers are because everybody likes you. But
That's not true.
nobody
No,
likes
there's
you.
that one or two.
Oh,
Stay.
no.
So the finder hired Jack, you would have hired Melika.
Well, yeah, I mean, you want.
But still, would
somebody
you
who's
have turned it
capable
into
of
the
looking at-
park?
I mean, it's hard for me to even argue with her. She's so sweet.
would
You
you-
just don't want to argue with her.
Would you have turned the
Okay,
treasure
but-
into the park?
You know, I
To
don't
the-
know. I
to
mean,
the
that's depends on
Rangers.
what Forrest, if he called Forrest and Forrest says,
No, not
absolutely
you.
not. That's what he
You.
said.
You're
No,
being
me?
grilled here, Tim. Answer the
You found the
question.
treasure.
If I open up the chest and I'm in the park,
You're in the middle of the woods all by your lonesome and be like, voila, here I am. Hello. Hi,
I'm-
nice to meet you. What's your next move?
I'm getting out of there.
Okay.
With or without the
So
I'm not
treasure?
later, are you
I'm-
gonna, if you
I am not
hightailed it out of
leaving it.
Yellowstone,
I am not
You're not
leaving
leaving
it for
that.
24 hours and coming back
okay,
the
so
next
you're
day
taking
and
it,
getting it.
you're hightailing it out of Yellowstone. Bye-bye. See you later, Yellowstone Park. Nice knowing you.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna
Yeah.
do what? You're gonna tell the world that I found it
No.
in Yellowstone, so I get in
Yeah,
trouble.
no, remember what I said is if I was him, I wouldn't tell him all the answers. For one, I don't want everybody just going and being lazy and they still don't know how to beat, you know, it comes up to it comes down to a thing like, okay, Forrest put that as a challenge to everybody to try to beat him. That's the way I always looked at it. And sometimes even when I send him emails, it's like, hey, you win this one. I hate you for a day or so because I've been boots on the ground. I didn't find anything. So you win, you know, checkmate, whatever it is. But I still wouldn't want just the answers. I'd want to know how, you know, how
Absolutely.
how did you decrypt the poem? How did you, you know, how was the book laid out with the you know, the pieces of the puzzle
What's
that,
your
that
solve from beginning to end, how it all came together for you?
do I
Like
now say
that's
that
what
again?
you would want to know, what was his solve from beginning to end, like what led him to this direction and then lead to that direction and then tipped him off, or he got a hunch on this and followed through with it.
I mean, would it be nice to know that? Yeah, that would be nice stuff in an ideal world. But I'm the kind of person who's like, don't show me how to do the jigsaw puzzle. Let me figure it out for myself. And then, you know, I'll kind of go from there. You know, the same way for like crosswords. I don't want somebody pointing out all the things to me. I want to do it myself because
Okay, but if you got tidbits, say he gives you the first 3 clues.
then if you know how
And let's say those first 3 clues don't define enough of an area. Like, okay, so the canyon, if he doesn't specifically, like, canyon doesn't wind up being a named canyon, so it doesn't narrow things down to that extent.
right.
You've got your little tidbits, you've got your hints. Is that enough for you?
No, I mean, the thing about it is that, you know, if that's what he's willing to give, then I guess we don't have any choice. But I'm still the person that would want to know how to fish instead of just give me the fish. So how did you decrypt the poem and let me figure out where that originally was supposed to be? Does that
Okay,
make
but
sense?
you got the clues and you got all the clues.
I know, but I haven't read the email that Forrest sent me that had all the clues on there. I haven't read it yet.
You know the poem.
I don't have, I'm joking. I was seeing K-Pro's expression on there, so I wanted to see if she was,
I'm just enjoying. I got my popcorn. Keep going.
oh, look at her. Yeah, she's like, oh, somebody finally tearing down my nemesis. Aha. You know,
No, I just like to hear, like, you're like,
well,
you
like
know,
I'm just not the kind of person that just wants to know the answer to stuff. I'm the kind of kid that tore the toys apart because I couldn't figure out how they worked, and then I put them back together, and then I'd know how they operate. So when they tore up, I fixed them again. So that's how I want to know. Because say, for example, Copper Dan takes and does his champion treasure hunt mega, you know, $50 million prize that he was telling me about before we started the show. And he's going to do that treasure hunt. And I don't know. He says to me, hey, I did it exactly how Forrest puzzle is. And I don't know how it worked. All those 9 answers don't mean crap to me if I don't know how it worked in the first place, if he did it exactly the same way.
Right, but you're waiting, like for Copper Dance, you're waiting a good 15 minutes. For Forrest, we waited 10 years and there is no treasure now.
You know, are you talking about the 15 seconds that it took to sell out of coins? because I never got one of those super hits. You know,
Sorry, I apologize, Copper Dan.
We did get a super
I
chat.
even counted my. I even.
That's okay.
So we did get a super chat from Mr. Scott Conway, and Scott says there is
Wow,
a
that's
storm
good.
coming. The truth will be told. A lot of people, I think there's something going to come out, and I don't think they mean from Jack.
So, is
Go
there
ahead.
a statute of limitations that Yellowstone? That's just for argument's sake. Let's say it was in Yellowstone, and let's just say Jack is keeping hush because it was in Yellowstone, and that created a potential problem. Is there a statute of limitations where
I don't know.
after 10 years, Yellowstone?
Well, it would depend, I think, is the question. If it was just found in a open spot in Yellowstone, I think is one question. If it was a closed spot, I'm starting to believe that it was in a closed location, not accessible, and that's why there was this development at the end. So there's some legal concern. If it was in an area not accessible, I think there's a whole different question. And I don't think would be criminal. I think it would just be, can they get the treasure chest back? Can they get, I think it's called restitution for all the costs and things. I don't know the answer to that, but I think the question needs to be more. I think we're going off of incomplete data. Like Jack just didn't leave it out of the goodness of his heart. That I believe there were instructions, and he's indicated that when he opened it, I think it said probably, you will lose this treasure chest if you take it now. So call me now and I will give you title to the gold.
Oh, I
Yeah,
would
but
have
what
lied.
happened-
I'd have lied my ass off. I'd have taken that thing and I'd
Yeah,
have
that's
had
what I'm
it
saying.
sitting back
It
in
all
my
depends.
hotel room, and I'd have called and been like, "Yep, yeah, it's still there." Mhm.
I think that's actually what
Yeah.
Jack did.
It's still
And
there.
I
Like I
don't
was
blame
saying
him.
earlier,
It's like,
you
I
know,
would have lied.
there's
I'd
no
have
way I'm
lied.
leaving that thing once I'm there. You know, I don't care if it's
Darn
500
right
pounds.
I'm
It takes me a
lying.
month to drag it to my car. I'm not leaving that chest once I'm there.
Right.
You know, I mean that would be. It
Oh, I
doesn't.
carried a cart with me. I had a cart with me, a fold up
Well-
cart like grannies carry. That I didn't care where that thing was. It was gonna go. It was coming out with me.
Right.
Well, and here's the funny thing. Here's what I actually think. And this is crazy. And Jack, if it's not true, I'm just having fun. I actually think he took it with him. And the reason he slept in is he was up all night and all morning going through every single little piece of that treasure and just dying and having a great time. And that's why he finally fell asleep, like after 8 or 9 hours of looking up, and he's laying on it and he fell asleep on it. I want to see those pictures, Jack. We know you
Yeah,
did. That's why you had to go to
that-
sleep.
That makes total sense. That
That's
makes
what
total
happened.
sense. To
Well,
say that you went back to your hotel and slept in, man, is something wrong with you. I mean,
Let me
Yeah, no,
ask you
he
this.
stayed up all night. He stayed
he's
up all
spending
night.
all the money in that chest just to fix what's wrong with him. Because I mean, anybody that's walking away from that much gold in the woods, they got something wrong with them. I mean, there's no way, unless Forrest, you know, when you opened it up, took and said there was something specific in there, like there's a time, you know, thing on this. You can't do this till this, or you can't do this till you call me, or whatever it is. That's a whole different ballgame.
Even if it said that, I'm with Melika. I'm still taking it with me, and I'm saying, "Hey, Forrest, it's
Okay,
back."
I would have. Trust me, I'd have lied to Forrest and said, "No, yeah, sure, I left it. It's right there under that tree. I even put the leaves back over the top of it. Ain't nobody gonna find." Yeah, right. Like, you know how many searchers there are out there searching for this damn treasure, and you're gonna tell me that you're confident enough that Bob over there isn't like looking in the same spot that I'm looking? Like, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I
Because
don't
we know people have
Bob.
been 200
I
feet.
don't know if where Bob's searching. I don't know if Bob, like, I've seen geocachers who are like trying to be sneaky, like, oh, I don't want to let them know, like, I'm searching for some stuff under this bridge. And I just call oh, you're searching for a geocache right now, aren't you? It's like, well, how could you tell? So yeah, it's like, I don't know if Bob's following me. I don't know if Bob's looking in the same area that I'm looking. So no, no way I'm leaving it for Bob to find. And
Damn,
then go back
Bob.
tomorrow morning and be like,
Bob,
oh, it's
darn
gone.
Bob.
Bob
Wow,
stole my
Bob.
treasure chest.
Yeah.
Bob, give it back. I would have had to wrestle Bob for it, and then a bear would come, and I'd
Oh,
tell the
Bob.
bear. I mean,
Exactly. Bob
Bob.
would be gone.
Let me ask the
Hashtag
panel this
Bob.
question.
Okay, last question because we've gone almost an hour and a half.
So when we did the interview with Forrest, Forrest has always said he would know when it was found. We don't know how that was, but Forrest always said all along is I would know when it's found. You don't think he said that, K-Pro? I think
He said that, but then he has said actually he has quotes and videos saying it both ways. Yeah, he did.
So in our interview we did with him in, what was it, November 2019, you posed the question. You said, Forrest, you were the person who tells us that it's still out there. So when somebody says claim to have solved it or claim to have retrieved it, you're the one we go to. What's going to happen after you pass away? Right. And Forrest said, yeah, there's a lot of problems with treasure hunts. And he laughed. But then he said, that's not true. There's a way, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. One, what do you guys think he meant by that? Do you think he meant the search community would somehow know it was found? Or do you think the search community would somehow know where the location was? And how could that possibly happen? I mean, I still don't know. And I wonder if Jack asked him that, or if he told Jack what it was, or because Jack found it, Jack now understands what Forrest meant by that, but that there is a way we would know even after Forrest was gone.
There's a 19-part question there and you're being graded. Go ahead, guys. No, is there a way we'll know for sure? Because Tim's still like, Jack's not the finder. So how do we know? I mean, Forrest did say there is a way we will know.
The most likely answer would that there was a note left in the chest to get a hold of Forrest before taking it, because it was in Yellowstone National Park. I mean, your theory, K-Pro, I mean, it really does work. And if it's, but so did the GPS solve. So I blame you.
No, blame Mike and his stupid source. Stupid source. Hashtag.
Yeah,
Wish you weren't a liar.
but source or no source, the GPS solve is still a pretty genius idea, and it's really too bad that's what it was.
I'm still on the fence about the GPS.
I am too. I mean, I hate to say because it is simple, it is this and that, but it's all muddied now because of all the drama of the chase. Drama, hashtag sources drama. Source, if that's your real name. Okay, we have a couple of things to wrap up with. Hold on one second. Couple of things. If you guys have ever been to Harry's forum, he is now shutting down. He's shutting down all comments. He's saying just due to time, etc. Looks like he's still leaving it up there. It's a free site, but that's just what I just read. So just FYI. Just FYI. The Photoshop analysis project is still moving forward, it seems, and well underway. When I have more on that, I will check Thor. I'm kind of checking Thor like you guys and checking in with Goldilocks and O when I can. And then, Mike, you wanted to give the one, you're getting distracted by the dog. The guy that we did the book interview with, were we going to give his info out tonight?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so there's a gentleman, he was a searcher. This is his first book. He's putting a book out. Really, really nice. I spent some time with him. He's wanting to interview different searchers. What did they think about the ending? What was the most important? How did they get into this chase, etc. And so he, after I talked to him, I don't know, for half an hour or so today. He said, do you know anybody else in the community? Because I know you probably do. And I said, well, why don't we just put it out on the show? Because I don't only want the people that I know. There is every different person out there. And we know you all watch. So we wanted to get you guys his info. If you are interested, reach out to him. He's doing a chase book. And he seems pretty genuine with wanting just to get different perspectives out there. So any final thoughts, or why don't we wrap up here? So Copper Dan, what do you have to say? You said that you have another hunt coming up. Do you have
Can I plug that?
kid hunt? Yeah, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Okay, so a couple of things. So I've turned my last treasure hunt into a kid hunt. So if you guys got grandkids, kids, neighbors, you send it to my website. If they want a little 3D printed coin, I'll send them one for free to help work on it. It is no longer boots on the ground. All I'm looking for is a detailed explanation of the whole poem. What does every line mean? And if you send me the correct, or if I feel it's close enough, I'm going to send you one of my small 3D printed treasure chests. The Masquerade tribute hunt is coming up. Jenny, Kyle, and Beth on Genetic Blend are putting that on. And there's going to be, I believe, 9 treasure hunters, me included, that wrote the treasure hunt. It's under $20 to get in. All the money goes to charity. My particular hunt is going to be worth about $400. There's going to be some gold in it, a piece of copper, piece of a piece of silver, which is worth a heck of a lot more than it was when I bought it. Holy cow, has silver gone up. And a piece of my artwork. What else have I got? Oh, I ordered more coins. I ordered 25 more coins. My coins were so popular, and people like him that didn't get one. If you want one, in about probably a week, I'll have them. And you can get them on my website. And if you want your own little treasure box, if you go to copperdan.com, I am selling them. The money is going to fund the big $50 million hunt. Or $50, whichever.
I'm not doing any interviews for that hunt.
I'll secretly record him. Just kidding.
Lesson learned. I think you guys are going to get it even if I didn't do that big fun interview. But the next big hunt is still being designed and worked on, and I don't know when that will come to be. Hopefully, maybe by summer, late summer.
That's awesome.
But in the meantime, this little hunt for the Masquerade, when it comes out, it's a pretty good price. I think it's like $19.95 or whatever. And you get 9 separate treasure hunts, and some of them are boots on the ground, some of them are armchair.
And everybody.
So go to Jenny Kyle's site, and just go to my Facebook site, and I'll get it plugged on there.
You got to mute Caper.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so everybody can check that out on Mysterious Writings. That sounds like a good treasure hunt. And Copper Dan's a part of it, so we know it's got to be good. I just want to go back to Brent real quick. Brent, as K-Pro explained, is a searcher who is writing a book, and he wants stories from other searchers. He wants to know how the thrill of the chase impacted your life. So in the chat, I put his email with his permission. So if you're interested in talking to Brent and possibly being in his book, there is his email. We did get a super chat.
If I were chairman, I'd say Donka Shane.
Donka Shane. We did get a super chat from T. Burbank, who says the Nook contains a witch. The Nook contains a witch. I don't know what that means, but thank you for that super chat. We do appreciate it. Okay, and there it is, the Forrest Fenn panel. Why the solution won't never be revealed. I don't know. Forrest says there's a way that people will know. Maybe in the future, there's a way, I guess, that we will know. We know it's been found, but could there be a way that we find it? What's that, Melika?
I want to share with you guys a little piece of the treasure chest. If you guys know, this was actually not this one. This one's mine, but this was also in the treasure that Jack found, or the finder found.
And I'm assuming that was from Mr. Forrest Fenn as well.
Yep.
Oh,
But this
cool.
one is try to get in and show you guys.
Breaking news. Now Melika is Jack. Breaking news.
The Canadian Jack.
See, at least somebody got smart and hired her as Jack. See,
That's a really cool necklace. A lot happening there.
Yeah,
That
and
is. How much does that weigh?
a lot.
It looks.
It's actually,
looks
I mean, I don't know. I've never weighed it. It's not like the beads are very heavy. It's not very light. I can tell you that for sure. It's interesting.
Did Forrest make that just for you, Melika?
You know he did, Dan.
Well,
Yes,
that's why I
Forrest,
asked you.
I was visiting at Kelly's house, Forrest's daughter, and she had this necklace like this on display, and she had kind of told me about it. And so I told Forrest that Kelly had showed me the necklace that he had made, and he called it Rare Things necklace. because there's
I'll
like,
trade you a Copper Dan coin for it.
no, I have a Copper Dan coin.
So Nelika, is it okay to talk about eBay? What you got going on eBay?
Sure.
Yeah. So a lot of people probably see the original illustrations on eBay from time to time. Nelika, though, Nelika is actually, is it true? Is it a correct statement to say that you purchased all the illustrations or just some?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So Nelika
Yes.
has all the original illustrations from the books, and she puts them up on eBay so that searchers can own a piece of it if they so choose. So that's pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
they all sell, right? I see bids as soon as you put them up.
Yeah. When I first, at first I just bought the Thrill of the Chase illustrations. I mean, you know, I got the Jamie, the gypsy drawing from the,
That's right. In the Jamie Jordan, we did a silent auction for that, and it raised a lot of money. So that's right.
right. And then from there, I bought the remainder of the illustrations from the Thrill of the Chase. And then I think it was like the next day I went to visit, and Forrest was like, hey, go behind that chair and grab that out. Forrest was like, I'm telling you, he was a salesman and a half, because every time he wanted something to show me something, that it would be just, you basically just walked into the den and you just had to look around for whatever was different. Because if there was something different in the den, that's what we were going to be talking about somewhere in our day. It would be a painting that was sitting up on a chair in front of his desk, or it would be a painting sitting over on the floor next to the fireplace. And he would just randomly strategic, like the arrowheads. He had the arrowheads laid out across his not his, they had two tables. One was like a breakfast table, the one that he talked about, the scratch on the table. And then he had a very long, like, family table in the formal like dining room. And yeah, he had
selling. Is
all the arrowheads laid out there. And it was like,
you purchased the arrowhead collection as well, right?
some of them.
Some of it. Okay.
Not all of them. He had like 33,000 of them. So not all of them, but we did get a fair share of them.
So Forrest was always selling, always a salesman, huh? Even in
always, yes, definitely. But when we talked about the Too Far to Walk illustrations, we sat at the table and just going through each one of them. And I will say, he did tell me as we were going through those illustrations that he did himself change some things on the illustrations after they were drawn. Yes.
Oh, that could in fact be breaking news. So did you take it to mean that that means there was a hint in the illustrations?
I just took it as, you know, there was just something that he wanted to tweak on it. And he said, yeah, it was like, I made some alterations to some of them, not all of them, to some of them. And then he was like, do you want these? And he was like, give them to your daughter to put them up on eBay. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And then after having them for a while, I thought, you know what? I know a lot of people, like, I have a whole collection of things like this that Forrest had given me, and it that means something to me. And I thought it would be nice for the community to get little pieces of something that they can treasure, you know, and have it as a keepsake of, you know, because the chase has affected us, and, you know, it will forever be with a part of my life. Even if Jack or whomever, the finder, comes out and gives us every answer, the solution, pictures, everything that confirms exactly where it was, it's still going to be a part of my life. And I feel like a lot of people feel that way. So I talked it over with Forrest, and the very first one that I put up on eBay, I would send Forrest the response of the person who won it. And it just made us both happy. So I just decided, at first it was just a few selections that I was going to let my daughter put up and use it for her college fund. And then they said, just the people are just so happy when they get it. So I just kept doing it. I probably will stop though when Too Far to Walk is gone. I'm not ready to part with the Thrill of the Chase ones.
I think you should put one of them from the Thrill of the Chase out there and let's see how high we're going to bid it up to.
Oh, that would be interesting. You did send us one of the illustrations for our wedding gift, so thank you for that. And Mr. William Ortiz sent us a
Thank
couple
you
as well. So yeah, thank you. That was really, really cool. We did get a super chat a little while ago, and I saw your thing here. Let's do this.
If I were Danish, I'd say manga tot.
Manga tot. So Scott Conway sent the $5 super chat. He says, any thoughts on the recent update on the treasure in Pennsylvania that the FBI took from finders keepers? I have no idea what that means. Does anybody? A treasure in Pennsylvania was taken?
No, he said we need to do a show on it. So I asked him to PM me and more details because I don't know enough about what he's talking about. So I don't know. I want to know more, Scott.
Email
and I know
me,
that's
Scott.
your real name.
Yeah. Email us.
And me. And then I'll
And
send
again,
it to
I'd
Mike.
just like to say, I do think the community should come together and start dishing out their knowledge, and then as a community be a part of solving it.
No,
I agree. And I think that is what is going to happen with Cynthia's conversation. She's going to start piecing together. I actually think that's going to start exactly what you're saying. We did it with like the database, but that didn't, we have a lot of information out there. I think it's going to start to snowball. Cynthia and a group of people have, and I am not one of them, have been trying to work on, okay, then we can narrow it down here and there and here. And I think she's going to start sharing that in the next one that's coming up. And then I think we're all going to start really talking about it, and it's going to be awesome and fun, and we'll probably go down rabbit holes.
A lot of people are focused on Yellowstone as well, which, I mean, I loved the idea of it being in Yellowstone, but don't forget, Forrest also said there was another place in Wyoming that was his best 2 days.
And that was Matitsi, Pitchfork.
And I think that's very telling.
Maybe not. Did you ever search in Yellowstone, Melika, when you were out searching?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. I think that says it all, everybody. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we'll have a show Thursday. Mike's in charge of Thursday shows. So and we're doing the hunt for history. Mike, I need to go. There's a piece of paperwork I need to sign. Hint,
Okay.
hint, you need to get off soon.
Nice.
We need to talk, my friend. So I need to go, you all. So I'm sorry.
Thanks for having me.
The divorce
It was
papers.
fun.
Oh my God, you're not supposed
Nice,
to say it right
man.
in front of him. Breaking
pretty good.
news. Okay, guys, I got to go.
All right, everybody. Thank you for the panel. We appreciate it. Forrest Fenn panels every Monday night. If you want to be on, email me or KPro. Thank you guys for coming on. After this, we're going to do the Hunt for History private Zoom, and it's private only in that I want you to have bought the map that is sold for this Hunt for History, 12 pounds of gold in Indiana. So if anybody wants to join that, email me, give me about 15 minutes and we will start up that Zoom.